All right, Agency Elephant user, welcome. Today we are going to be going over best steps for a new independent agent and some of the first things you can run. And in this first video, we're going to be going over hitting your past customer list, okay? There's going to be some specific processes that we go over, so you'll probably want to pause this and rewind it a few times because these processes are important as you're running these types of broadcasts. First thing you're going to do is you're going to get your customer list from your previous agency and put it into a Google Excel spreadsheet. Okay. On that Google sheet, you're going to separate out your first name, last name, mobile, email, the same way you set up all imports for Agency Elephant. And you do not necessarily need to, nor would I personally import all of those customers into Agency Elephant at once. And these are past customers from your previous agency, you're newly independent. They're past customers. So if you do not have a non-compete on them, this is what you want to do. If you have a non-compete, you can't do it. You can simply close out of this video and go to some of the other best practices for independent agents. But for this case, I'm going to start with customers. Okay. So independent agents that have a past customer list that you can reach out to because your non-compete isn't at play or there's not any concerns with it or you're past that time frame. Here's what you want to do. You need to get that Google Excel spreadsheet open, and I'm going to show you exactly what to do here. And you're going to want to get all of your customers in that spreadsheet: first name, last name, mobile, email. If you have X dates, that's great. If you have what products you had with them, that's great too. That's any of those things, anything extra is great to have. So what you're going to do is you're going to have first name, and make sure you put that header up there because it'll help map your information into Agency Elephant. You're going to have last name. Make sure you use mobile for the phone number so it maps correctly. You have email, maybe you have an address and an expiration date, okay? Now under here, you're gonna have all your customers' name. This one's Matt, Han, mobile, please don't call me, email, Matthew@agencyelephant.com. And then you're gonna have address, you're gonna have X date. Okay. Here's our X dates, here's all of our stuff. Then what we're going to need to do is I'm going to need to copy this entire row. And let's try and put this all here. Okay, so here's all your customers, right? Let's just pretend you got 1,000 customers here. I'm using my same name. What I always recommend you do is you're going to do this in groups of 50 people. Okay, 50 people batches. So you're going to take this first top 50 people and you are going to take the first 50, go down the list, and you are going to copy these people into a new sheet over here. You're going to copy them into a new sheet over here. And in this first one that you copied from, you're going to then change the background color of this so you know you've already copied them. I prefer to do red, so I know don't touch those. Over here, I'm going to call this my master list, right? Master past customers, and I'm going to call this my import for 14/20/22. Okay, this is going to be my import that I did on April 14th, 2022. Now that I've got this list, this is my first 50. I'm going to go ahead and download this as an Excel, as a CSV file for the import, and then you're going to import these people into Agency Elephant. Okay, so I'm going to show you the best way to do that. I'm going to export this, throw it to my desktop so I know where it is. In my Agency Elephant account, I am now going to come over into my lead manager contact view and come over to import leads. Okay. Now, because I'm importing the same people, the same 50 people, it's not going to duplicate that lead 50 times. It's just going to be one lead. So after you've imported these people, here's the process. Okay. You come in here, you're going to select a group. You want to put these people into past customers. That group doesn't exist. You're simply going to add it. And then you're also going to put that person into past customer broadcast for, and you can't put special characters in here, so you just got to use spaces. Can't believe I keep writing 2020. Hit I've read. You don't need to scrub all your customers. So let's come over here, past customers broadcast, or I'm going to change this a little bit. I'm going to say broadcast past customers for 14/2022. Okay. Now, if you're noticing that add group doesn't appear because I've already added one group. So I'm going to come in here and say past customers. Okay. And then I'm going to say broadcast past customers for 14-2022, hit add group. Great, now pick that group. Now I'm just going to add a secondary group here. So you see there's 2 groups being added. The purpose of this is so I can sort all these past customers as I'm adding all of them into the system, but I can also sort by broadcast, and this is going to be really important to do, okay? Next thing I'm going to do is say past customer. I'm going to tag them as well, because I want to tag people when I import them for sorting purposes later on down the road if these groups get disconnected for any purpose. Next thing I'm going to do is select my file, and I'm going to use the CSV that I previously did, hit the I've read, and hit start import, okay? Now you're going to see it has all the same names and emails. I'm going to put this person into first name, put them into last name, put them into mobile, put them into email. If it doesn't automatically populate for you, put this into address. And the next one was expiration date, okay? I'm going to hit next. And I'm just going to use the append, hit finish. Now that that import is done, now you have to set up your broadcast to these people, okay? With broadcasting to past customers, one of the things that I always like to do is make it very simple, very straightforward. You want to have a conversation with these people. You don't want to try and pitch them. You don't want to try and sell them at first. We can do that later on, and I'll show you how. But we want to start activity of conversations. You're going to come over to your tools button over here. This is where your broadcasts are located. You're going to come over into your SMS broadcast button here. And under this section, you're just going to hit add new, okay? Under this broadcast, we're going to title it past customer broadcast number 1. We'll say batch number 1 of 4/14/2022. Okay, I'm going to name it, and I'm going to pick the group broadcast past customers 4/14/2022. So it matches this. Okay, so I can always track it, find it, know what's going on. The next thing I'm going to do is come down here and pick my verbiage. In this, I always recommend saying something to the effect of, hey, client first name, it's Matt, your old insurance agent. I know it's been a while, but I just wanted to check in. How's it going? This is the first broadcast I want to send, okay? Then you're going to hit these disclaimers and hit save, and it's going to throttle it out immediately for you, 25 people every 15 minutes. If I'm doing 50 at a time, I probably want to do 25 every 60 minutes. It's my slowest throttle for a broadcast. Hit save and send those out. That's your first broadcast. You just did it to your past customers, 50 people at a time. Congratulations, you did it. Now the biggest thing you have to do next, you have to understand the process to set this up, because I want to set up a broadcast that all of the people that do not respond to this, I can hit again in a follow-up broadcast. For example, I can do a batch number 2 to the same broadcast group of people, but I can skip all of the leads that have responded. Okay, you can skip leads. So I can say, I want to send a batch to the first batch I sent to, but I want to skip all the people that already responded to the trip. Want to make sure you can do that so you can broadcast those people multiple times so that you can possibly have a conversation with them, okay? Here's how you do it. First thing you got to do is you've got to come up into your settings and you've got to create that tag, okay? You've got to come into tags and you've got to create the responded tag, okay? You're going to hit add tag. Now that that tag exists, we are going to go, you can refresh this screen and see that it's up at the top now. Now you're going to want to pretend that you started that, or I will pretend that we started that broadcast and this user here responded to that broadcast. There are 2 things you need to make sure you do for every single response. One thing you have to do, definitely. A second thing you have to do only if the person is having a conversation that might yield into a quoting opportunity, okay? So first thing you got to do is, let's say this person responded to our broadcast. The first thing you have to do is you have to tag this person. You have to tag them as responded. This makes sure when you do another broadcast to the same group of 50 people that you remove all the ones that responded, you skip them, right? So we hit responded. Then I want to put the person that I'm having a conversation with to try and get them to a quoting opportunity into my prospect deal status. I'll do it again for you so you can see it. Over here on the top right, this thumbs up, you're going to click it. and you're going to put them into the prospect deal status. The reason you want to do that is as you're having more and more and more conversations, this messenger thread is going to get pretty overwhelming and you're not going to remember where you left off with other people or if you're having an active conversation. So you need to have a place that you can come view, which is your pipeline, that you can come view who's a prospect, right? Who is a prospect in my system? Let me come back over into my pipeline management section because I do have to change this. I accidentally messed it up earlier. You need to make sure that you put all of your opportunity into this prospect status. That is really important. You need to make sure you tag everybody that has responded. You've tagged them as responded, okay? Those are the steps. Then going forward, as you're doing the next import of 50 and you're putting them into another sheet, you're grabbing the next 50, highlighting them, putting them into another sheet, importing them, doing another broadcast, first broadcast to this group. You need to make sure you're following those best practices because as you get down the road, you're going to want to say, hey, I checked in with these people a month ago and I need to hit them again with some more information like, hey, I opened a new insurance office. I can now get you a better rate. I'd love to get you back in my agency. Then you can start doing those types of things. Those usually have a lower conversion up front, but they definitely help get you extra conversion as you're going through those lists and you're throwing out like last ditch efforts. Okay. So those are the things to do. You're going to want to do a broadcast over in tools. Going to want to get your past customers here. And you're going to want to run these types of campaigns or broadcast to these people. Hope that helps. Take action, rewind the video, pause it, play it, go back and watch it again if you have to, and take that action because this is the best way to get activity and write premium in your agency. Most users that do it, on average, I see users that put in 50 people of past customers that they had decent relationships with and they were a decent agent. They're closing typically 25% of those people with new business that you're broadcasting to, usually having a 50% response rate and a 25% quoting to close rate. Okay, hope that helps. If you got any other questions, always feel free to reach out to the chat, the Facebook page, go to our YouTube channel, any of those things, or show up to our live trainings. Hope that helps. Have a great rest of your afternoon.